Imagine you could double, triple, even quadruple your results without working twice as hard. Picture world-class athletes, top CEOs, and elite creatives delivering jaw-dropping achievements while logging fewer hours than their struggling competitors. It might sound like a flashy magic trick, but what these peak performers embrace is rooted in a simple truth. Focusing on a small fraction of your efforts can lead to the vast majority of your outcomes. This is what sets them apart. They don't brute force their way to success. They streamline, cut the noise, and dial in on the tasks that matter most. Right now, think about your own life. Projects piling up, tabs open in your mind, half-finished to-do lists scattered across your desk. It's like running a marathon in thick mud, each extra task dragging you down. But what if you knew exactly which fraction of your work would produce the biggest results? What if you could toss aside the clutter, zoom in on the critical 20%, and watch your productivity skyrocket? That's the secret weapon these achievers swear by. They understand something known as the 80-20 rule, and once you see why, you'll never approach your goals the same way again. A century-old discovery from an Italian economist may sound dull on the surface, but it's been repurposed as a roadmap for modern success. It's called the Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule. Originally, Vilfredo Pareto observed that 20% of Italy's population owned 80% of its wealth. Today, peak performers borrow that logic to filter their priorities, ensuring the small slice of tasks that truly matter gets the lion's share of their attention. But let's get concrete. Imagine you're glued to your computer, churning through endless tasks, never stopping to close the surplus of browser tabs you opened hours ago. After a while, your machine overheats, fans screaming for relief, performance tanking. Sound familiar? Humans aren't computers, but we face a similar risk when we overwhelm ourselves. The more we heap onto our plate, the more sluggish our progress becomes. We end up moving through our days like wading through custard, slow, sticky, and exhausting. Peak performers get this. Instead of letting every task pile on, they identify which ones deliver outsized returns. For them, it's rarely a strict 80-20 ratio. It could be 70-30, 85-15, or another split. The exact numbers aren't critical. What matters is knowing that not all efforts are created equal. Their strategy? Keep as few tabs open as possible. Cut out the fluff, highlight the work that matters, and dive deep. How do they figure this out? It starts with prioritization. Before racing into the day, they pause and ask, which tasks actually move the needle? It might be as simple as making a list and sorting items by importance, or it might involve something more structured, like using the Eisenhower matrix, a tool designed to separate what's urgent and important from what's trivial and time-wasting. Dwight D. Eisenhower, the former US president and five-star general, had one of the most demanding schedules imaginable. He needed a clear system to avoid drowning in details. The Eisenhower matrix splits tasks into 4 categories: important and urgent, important but not urgent, urgent but not important, and neither urgent nor important. The first category, important and urgent, represents the core tasks you should tackle head-on. These tasks likely form the 20% that yields the 80% results. The others can be scheduled, delegated, or deleted. This kind of ruthless clarity ensures no energy is wasted. Every drop of effort supports the biggest payoffs. Once priorities are set, peak performers can channel their energy more efficiently. By focusing on the tasks that truly matter, they accomplish more in less time. But don't misunderstand. They're not slacking off. They're working smarter. While others fritter away hours on busy work, they concentrate their efforts on a few crucial moves that unlock massive gains. It's like finding the perfect shortcut that doesn't compromise quality. It just streamlines the journey. Let's say you start your day knocking out a handful of minor tasks. It might feel good. Crossing off easy items often does. But if they don't lead anywhere, you're only simulating progress. Peak performers know that small wins are nice, but real advancement comes from the high-impact actions. Maybe for you, it's writing that core proposal, reaching out to a key client, or polishing the presentation that could seal a big deal. By attacking these pivotal tasks first, and with total focus, you ensure your energy is directed toward what genuinely counts. Of course, no one has unlimited resources. Your time, energy, and attention are finite. Treating them as valuable resources means you can't afford to let them seep away. If you've got big responsibilities, consider using time-saving tools, apps, artificial intelligence, or strategic planning methods to lighten the load. The scale of your approach depends on your situation. On a large scale, CEOs might delegate vast chunks of work to teams. On a smaller scale, a freelancer might rely on productivity apps or outsourcing a single repetitive task. Either way, the principle is the same. Preserve your precious resources for where they'll have the most punch. This is where the power of deep focus comes into play. If you're only doing 20% of the tasks to generate 80% of the results, every minute counts. Enter the concept of deep work, popularized by author and professor Cal Newport. Deep work means carving out segments of time where you operate free from distractions. No smartphone pings, no pointless meetings, no endless scrolling. Just pure, undiluted concentration on the tasks that matter most. Deep work aligns beautifully with the Pareto principle. By stripping away the noise, you ensure the high-priority actions get your full brain power. 3 to 4 hours of such intense, focused effort can outperform 8, 10, or even 12 hours spent half engaged with trivialities. When you stop trying to do everything, you can finally excel at something. This razor-sharp attention separates peak performers from the pack. They're not necessarily more intelligent or hardworking. They're just more strategic about where they apply their strength. There's a misconception that achieving greatness means pushing yourself relentlessly, logging endless late nights, and piling on the workload. But this approach often backfires. Spreading yourself too thin leads to burnout, sloppy mistakes, and a warped sense of progress. Peak performers recognize that true excellence is sustainable. By leveraging the 80-20 rule, they avoid chasing every opportunity that flutters by and focus instead on the ones that truly matter. This doesn't mean they never put in long hours or face tough challenges. It means they choose their battles wisely. If 20% of their tasks bring 80% of their results, they ensure that time spent on these tasks is protected at all costs. The rest can be delegated, delayed, simplified, or dropped entirely. Over time, this frees them from the trap of perpetual busyness, a state where you're always doing something but never really accomplishing what counts. Think of it this way. If your mind feels cluttered by countless open tabs, emails, side projects, errands, minor responsibilities, you risk overheating, just like a computer. Eventually, performance suffers. The solution isn't to give up on achievement, it's to become more selective. If you were to close all but the few critical tabs, how much faster could you navigate your day? How much more mental bandwidth would you have for deep, meaningful work? Peak performers ask themselves these questions regularly. They understand that the 80-20 rule isn't a rigid formula, but a guideline reminding them that not all efforts are equal. Some moves generate massive returns, and others barely register. If you identify which ones matter, you can compress your workload without sacrificing quality. In fact, you often improve it, because the energy you save can be reinvested into pushing those key tasks even further. Over time, embracing the 80-20 rule rewires your approach to work and life. Instead of feeling pressure to do it all, you feel freedom in doing what counts. You become more confident in saying no to tasks that lead nowhere. You stop measuring success by how busy you are and start focusing on the impact you create. This shift in mindset isn't just about getting more done. It's about living smarter, being more strategic, and ultimately unlocking your peak performance. The next time you catch yourself drowning in details, step back and ask, which tasks are actually driving my results? Then, zero in on them. Close some tabs, both literally and figuratively. Strip away the non-essentials. Invest your time where it yields meaningful returns. It might feel strange at first, especially if you've been trained to believe that success equals constant hustle. But once you see how much progress you make by focusing on less, you'll understand why top performers rely on this principle. Don't wait until you're buried under a mountain of commitments. Start examining your workload now. Look for that vital 20%. The tasks, goals, or actions that generate an outsized share of your outcomes. Those are the projects that deserve your clearest mind and your fullest dedication. Before you know it, you'll be getting more accomplished in less time and with far less stress. So, the next time your mental desktop is crowded with too many open tabs, remember the 80-20 rule. Pin the ones that truly matter. Close out the rest and watch as your productivity, efficiency, and sense of control take off. Peak performers aren't superhuman. They've just learned which tabs are worth keeping open. Would you like the full illustration from this video? Click here and I'll send it right over. Thank you for watching and have an awesome week.